Dan Clementi coming to you here with a quick, short tutorial on how you create a jig in Lightburn. The purpose of a jig is to duplicate an item multiple times quickly. Instead of having to make one item at a time, you could do 6 at a time, 10 at a time, whatever you want. A lot of guys use these for keychains. They'll use them for slates. Anything where you're making a multiple of the same item, you can do it with a jig. So this jig is really, really simple. This is the most basic jig you can make. Here is, I call it the keychain jig for wooden keychains that I bought on Amazon. You get like a 20 pack for a few bucks of these wooden keychains. And I have people that I work with, or people that are customers of mine, that'll buy, a badge. Like I'm a state trooper, so they'll buy their badge on a keychain, and they maybe want 4 of them for family and friends. And I can do 4 keychains on my 6 keychain jig, and all in one shot, boom, it cuts the 4 of them, and it's done. So something like that, where it makes it super easy to make. Instead of having to do one at a time, I throw it in the jig and it's done. So here's the components of the jig. Is the actual external cutout. This is a, whatever you want it to be: wood, acrylic. I use fiberboard for like chalkboard / blackboard material from Lowe's, a few bucks a sheet. I have a whole bunch of that stuff that I use for projects, and I use the white side of the whiteboard, and I cut out, a 5x8 shape, and that's where I start, and that works pretty well. So I put words on it, keychain jig, so I know, because I have multiple jigs, even though I can look at the shape and know which one's which, but that's what I have here is keychain jig. And if you zoom in here, there is just really 3 basic shapes that are going to be on this jig. This is the keychain cutout. It has this little bump out here for the key ring itself, for the part that holds the key ring, so the keychain will lay flat on the bed of the laser. And then I actually just measured out the keychain's shape using my digital calipers, and I came up with the shape or the size, and I just kind of drafted it up. If you zoom in a little bit here, you'll see this purple line. This is on a different layer. That is kind of an outline of my true usable print laser area. If I was to go to the edge, the laser itself, the engraving itself, would fall off the edge of the keychain because of the rounded edge. So I just kind of gave a little offset inboard, so I have a little bit more room, so I don't go over the edge of the keychain. Then you have the crosshair. The crosshair is what helps you with Lightburn's print and cut feature, which, by the way, is located up here in this little area next to the rotary tool. It says show print and cut setup. I'll get to that in a second. You will create a crosshair that has the inner circle is 2 millimeters, approximately 2 millimeters in diameter. And then you'll just offset that circle to another bigger circle. And then you'll create 2 lines that are the same length, and just create your actual crosshair, making sure it goes through the center using your centering tools. If you're using Lightburn, you should be able to do this basic task. And then the next thing is a 1/2 inch square. And that 1/2 inch square is very important, because that's what's going to give us our offset to offset our crosshair 1/2 inch in each corner. So here's what we'll do. We'll take the first square. We'll grab the corner. Make sure you grab the corner with your mouse. You're going to grab the corner, and you're going to bring it all the way up to the corner of the jig and let go, and it'll lock in place to the 90-degree corner. And we will make a copy of that. We'll come down to the bottom right corner, same thing, get our corners and lock it in place. Same thing on this side, lock it in place. And the last but not least, the last corner up here is, So that gives us a 1/2 inch, 0.5 inch offset from the corner diagonally to the outside corner, which we're going to use for the crosshair. So now we're going to take a copy of the crosshair, and we're going to bring that over. And same thing, using the center, we're going to just lock it in place. So use the center and just snap it right to the corner. And then we'll do the same thing down here. Lock it into the center there, lock it in. Same thing over here. Take the corner, lock it in. And the last one but not least, last corner. Now on bigger jigs, some guys will put a keychain or a crosshair in the center on each side. I don't do that. I think 4 is plenty. You only need to use 2, but we'll get to that again in a second with the print and cut feature. So next thing I do is I use the square for that reason. Now I'll just delete it. I don't need the square anymore. It's just more for measurement purposes of knowing where everything's at. So if you notice, I have the jig is done. That's finished. It's all completed. I have different layers for different things. You want to use the line tool or the line mode for your layer for anything you want to cut out. So I want to cut out the shape of the square, and I want to cut out the shape of the keychain. So that will go on to layer 00. That's what I use for cutting, and I have it set for 7.5 speed at 65% power. Nice, powerful on the laser head. And of course, your laser will vary based on what you know as your percentages for your power to cut or engrave. For the words keychain jig, I'm going to use the fill mode, and that I'm going to do just a regular engraving at 450 at 45 power. And then since these crosshairs are not closed shapes like the crosshair themselves, I use the line mode for that, and I just do a quick 450 by 35 real quick, and it comes up with this. So these will cut out, these 6 will cut out, and the shape out, the outer perimeter here will cut out to give us our jig on the machine. Next thing we want to do, once we cut it and we're done with it, and we know we're done with it, we're going to copy the entire thing, and we're going to make this, I got to fix this a little bit here, and we're going to make this into a tool. I use T2 as our tool layer. And that is, now it's done. It's one tool. You could take it, shut it off if you want. You could turn it on, however. But now it's a tool. It's done. It's never going to be cut. That's not going to ever be used for cutting. That is your jig. It's finished. Some guys will save them in their library. They'll copy all of this and they'll do a save as, and they'll save it to their wherever, if you want to save it to your desktop and you want to call it, Keychain jig, you can do that and you can save it, and then you can load it and you can go back into your desktop, and I just save a file, boom, there's your keychain jig, whatever. So that is how you do the saving feature. I don't ever use it, but that's how you do it. I think you can actually save a whole new library, and I don't really play around with the library stuff, but you can do that if you want. So then you go in there and just whatever you want to cut out, and then you can, let's say I'm going to go to my other window here for a second. I'll take my famous state police badge that I cut a lot of these out, and this is actually usually a just a regular engraving. 450 there, yep. And we'll just take that, throw it right in the middle, and we can do another one of those, same thing, just put it right in the middle, and then you center them all up. And the computer knows to take away the frame, the jig. It knows it's just cutting these 2 badges. It's not going to cut that frame out anymore. It's now considered a tool. No longer is it part of the cutting process, that blue. So there's your actual jig. There's how you would do it. And then you would throw this on the machine. Let's go into that part. So now let's say we want to cut out 3 badges. That's what somebody ordered 3 of these things. That's what they wanted. And they wanted to order 3 for their family and friends. Okay, now, Dan, what do we do now? I want to get this. How do I work this? How does it work? Makes no sense. So now you take your jig, you have it all cut out, and you're going to throw it onto your laser bed. And you're going to try to make it as straight as you possibly can. But the best part is with the print and cut feature, it doesn't have to even be straight. It could be on a 30-degree angle. It doesn't matter. What you're going to do is you're going to move your laser head. You're going to jog the laser head over to whatever crosshair you would like to use. So let's say we decide we're going to use this one, and we're going to jog the laser over to that crosshair by manually jogging it using the move commands here, using these. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the print and cut feature. You're going to click on it. Now it's not going to work for me now because I'm not by my laser. What you would do is you would actually just, once your laser is lined up on the center of this inner circle, you would then hit set first target position, and it would lock it in place to that. It now knows Lightburn and the laser are talking to each other. It now knows that set first target position, that is that top right or top left crosshair. Now what you do is once that first position is set, this will change a little bit. I'm not going to be able to show you because I don't have it plugged in. But now what you would do is you would click on the next crosshair you want the machine to go to. Let's say it was this one. And up here, it'll say jog to selection. And you will hit that button and it'll jog it over to this dot. Now, let's say it's a little bit off. Then adjust your jig on the machine slightly so it lines up with that dot and lines up with the crosshair. And then once you have it lined up, everything's set, you'll hit, save your second position, and boom, Lightburn now knows point A and point B. It knows the shape and size of the jig, and you can go to town and cut. That's all you got to do. It's really, really easy. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions at all, let me know. I hope that helped, at least getting the jig set up. This print and cut feature is super, super easy. There is going to be another option that will come up at the very end of it. It'll say scaled output. I always use the scaled output. And then you could frame everything and make sure it all lines up where you want it and give it a test run and see if you like what it does. But otherwise, that's pretty much how you make a jig, how you use the print and cut wizard in Lightburn 1.2.01. And I hope that makes sense to everybody. Again, if you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. Check it out. See what you think. I think you guys will really like this feature of Lightburn. We'll see you.